thank you, Penny. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon to see so many colleagues, but to see so many people enthused in this whole exciting game for continuous improvement, and that's what we really have to be doing. And to see so many more awards coming through this year is again a delight. And also to see so many from across the whole sector. And that's terribly important because we now have an integrated healthcare system. And whilst we've seen sort of quality break out in small sort of areas of excellence, we need that same enthusiasm and that same drive for improvement across the whole of the healthcare system. And also then reaching into social care and the whole of the public sector. Indeed, I and a number of colleagues were at the Public Services Summit this morning with the First Minister. Our Minister was there, and we were celebrating then the fact in a fairly short space of time that there's huge enthusiasm now for efficiency and innovation across the whole of the public sector. But I think the cauldron for change actually is here. I think it's here through the excellent work that Emily has done quietly over a number of years, not always quietly, but unfortunately we don't always get the sort of press that we require. It's not easy for us to get the good stories in the media as much as we would like. But I know the tremendous work that you all do. I think the other issue for us in terms of spreading the good word is actually spreading the good practice. And we really, again, have to move from these sort of small pockets of excellence to full roll-up. The First Minister has this phrase now, adopt or justify. He's taken a fairly sort of hard line on this in the public sector to say, well, if we know it works, if we have the evidence, you really have to justify why you are not adopting that particular approach. So there's a sort of hard edge to this now, but we know that if that's used unwisely, then it can turn people off. But really, we can't have people who do not want to get involved in providing the highest quality services, and that's going to get even more of a challenge for us when we go into very difficult times. The way I see it, that if we haven't been able to provide high quality, sustainable services in high growth levels, it's really going to be a challenge as growth declines. And if you look at it just from a hard-nosed business perspective, most of the successful companies in the world actually use quality and quality improvement to drive themselves into greater profitability and sustainability. And we're not a business, but I think we can take a business-like approach to some of those issues, particularly around the process. And I think that's what I was very taken with in terms of the way in which we have looked at the awards and measured them against first the methodology to make sure that we had good analysis of the problem, that we moved through a PDS cycle or other processes which ensured that there was strength in the whole process, and one could then use that evidence, particularly when one thinks about the importance of rollout into the whole of the healthcare system. Coupled with that for me is again another important factor is leadership, and some of you may have heard me talk about leadership on a number of occasions, and I always say that leadership is not something that just resides at the top of the organisation. It has to reside at all levels, and particularly through all the clinical staff. And what we've been looking for again in these awards today was showing evidence of good leadership, where people have actually stepped up and led by example and have been persistent, carrying their colleagues with them, because a lot of what we do is based on teamwork and leadership. And leaders can change within teams. Leadership will depend on different situations. So it's not just the odd 2 or 3 people at the top of the organisation. It has to be embedded throughout the whole organisation. And we really need to understand the importance of leadership. And this issue about the use of resources. All resources need to be used wisely, if only because we're all taxpayers. We all got a stake in this. from just being purely taxpayers. But I think our personal stake is usually driven by our desire to make sure that our patients get the best possible care, and that indeed we also have a relationship with our colleagues in terms of them being customers as well. So it's very important that we think very hard now about the use of resources in a way perhaps we've never done before, because we are probably entering times that most of us have never experienced in terms of the harshness of the effect of the fiscal policies that they feed through the public sector. So 1,000 Lives, I think, has been great, looking just at these concepts of where we can actually reduce harm, reduce variation and waste. And that mantra of harm, variation and waste, I think is a very powerful way to look at the better use of resources, because ultimately for me that does lead to higher quality care. And then finally, this issue of sustainability. That if we have a project that may superficially look attractive, but it can be no more than a shooting star. It just is in the sky for a couple of minutes, very bright and spectacular. But it doesn't actually stay there for too long or in our memories. So we're looking for projects which have enduring sustainability. And I think again, what we've seen from the judges is that evidence, in their view, of sustainability. Thank you.